Welcome back again, everybody. Season 4, episode 4 of season 7. We established that the first time we started this podcast until our producer made a mistake and was unable to record the beginning.
Oh, man.
But here we are now, and we have a wonderful guest who has transgendered. No, that's not the right word.
No, it's not that one.
No,
It's the other one.
Traversed.
Traversed.
My whole life. We got Michael Burns in the studio today. Started a new mic back when I was about 10, 11 years old playing golf at Oakley Country Club. Welcome, Michael Burns. What's up, Burnsy?
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And the beauty of it now is Burnsy's good buddies with my good buddy, Craig Carter, who does not listen.
He does not listen.
He is not a listener.
Amy doesn't let him.
Probably doesn't let him.
No.
I don't think Amy listens either.
No.
No? And obviously
Awkward at family dinners.
Craig is co-host Keith Carter's brother.
He is.
And actually he's been getting a lot of mentions on the podcast lately and really should start listening.
Craigie should, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to put some heat on
should
it.
get him
He'll
on.
listen to this one.
We should get him on.
I don't know. Does he know? I don't think he knows you're here.
I'll let him know.
Yeah, wait till he knows you're here. So our lives have come back together, and here we are on the podcast. Isn't that exciting, Root Beer?
I'm so excited.
You could tell. I could tell. I could really tell. But I had a question because this came up on Easter Sunday, and I want to know if anybody uses cursive writing anymore. Cursive writing?
No, except when I sign my name on like a waiver for one of my kids.
But that's not even cursive. That's just like your signature, right? That's not. You're not.
That has to be.
Yeah, and the way I write it doesn't even count because it's like an M and then a scribble.
Yeah, so it's not real. You're not. I'm talking like. Remember in middle school or grade school they used to have that paper, right? The capital letter went up to the top, and then the middle, and you made your Y came down.
You'd always screw up the capital Q.
Yeah, capital Q is a brutal one. Is that the one
bitch.
was like a?
The G was difficult.
It was like
The
a number
G
2.
was-
G's tough.
G was a bear.
Yeah, the capital G was a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
swear?
Yes, we can swear.
Okay.
So, and I bring it up because I was with my mother on Easter Sunday, and there was some talk about growing up in the Catholic schools and what you learned at a Catholic school, and they taught you cursive writing.
Mm-hmm.
What else did they teach you?
Oh, I don't know. Ask Keithy.
No.
Keithy knows.
Wrestling?
Wrestling in the basement of the church.
Yeah, we did a little bit of that. There's actually boxing. The wrestling happened up in the family room.
Right. No shirt on
Yeah,
though.
no shirt.
So, anyway, I think. Do they teach it? I mean, you've got your kids are young.
Yeah, my kids are young. So I want to say they still do. Now, when they were at Catholic school, they definitely learned it.
Yeah.
Or some of it, or started to learn it.
When they were at Sacred Heart. Yeah.
And
Wait,
now,
why is cursive writing associated with Catholic school so much?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it's just a great discipline. Like my mother's writing to this day is beautiful. It's beautiful writing. She writes very eloquently, and
Yeah.
it's beautiful. Cursive writing is really beautiful. It really is. But nobody uses it anymore. And to the flip side of that, Burnsy and I were talking before we got in here, which we were late. So, Root Beer, make your joke. Go ahead, this is your opportunity. No joke?
I don't need to.
Okay. About AI and how now people aren't even writing their own thoughts anymore.
No, it's crazy.
Wild.
Right?
We
So
should bring cursive back.
we should bring
Start
cursive.
with our kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
We could get like a little social thing going.
You know where else this came up was
Cursive challenge.
I was talking cursive challenge. I like that. The everybody needs a nudge.
try to write it
Yeah.
as best you can.
And see if someone can read it.
And see if kids can read it.
Yeah.
And you post it.
Because Hank's 8th grade, he was unable to read cursive writing. Something came
Could
up.
he read regular writing?
TBD. No, Hank's smart. He gets good grades. He's a smart kid. So I hope you're listening, buddy. Stick with school, okay?
Well, there's not many things to write now other than a card. Everything else is text messages.
Do you
Right.
handwrite your
Computers.
thank you cards?
Yeah.
Or you send like a text.
Right.
Right.
Well, like birthday
That's-
cards.
Yeah.
But let's go
Good-
back.
That's good parenting.
Let's go back to when we applied to college.
Yeah.
You didn't type your essays.
No.
You hand wrote your essays.
Yeah.
Whiteout.
Yeah, white
Get
out.
that shit all over your fingers.
It smelled great.
Yeah,
I was
fathers.
never patient enough to let it dry.
Yeah.
So then you start writing and the thing would dig in.
Yeah.
Ruined
It looked terrible.
Yep.
So anyway, cursive writing, we should bring it back.
Wait, why is Root Bear's name Root Bear?
Oh, well, if you listen to the podcast, you know that. but you clearly don't.
Tell.
It
So
wasn't on that episode.
yeah, it's been on like 15 episodes,
on every
Michael. So there's no way of getting around it because just about everybody that sits in that seat asked that very question. Her nickname is Root Beer because we were looking for everybody needed a nickname because this whole show was based on a nickname, right? The whole thing is based on a nickname. And we started with Walshy because her last name's Walsh, but I was like, everybody that's a Walsh is a Walshy. And I equate
And there's
Walshy.
only one real Walshy.
There's only one.
Yeah,
Walsh.
yeah.
Okay. So,
I actually had a couple beers with him over the.
have you had him on?
I have not had him on.
Oh,
There's
he'd be a
your
treat.
white whale. That's it right there.
I should have
I'm
him
gonna
on.
make that happen.
You know what? He's kids at Dexter, right? I
Yeah.
think The daughter plays with or played with Lego. Anyway,
She's good friends with the kids.
her initials are A and W.
Oh, I like it.
A and W.
I got it. Oh, see what you did there.
You see what I did?
Yeah.
Yeah. See? All right. So Sunday was Easter Sunday, and then Monday was the marathon. Now, did you run the marathon? Have you run the marathon in your life?
No, I attended the marathon. As I recounted many times for about 10 years ago. That was the best day of the year.
Okay. Maybe that's why I remember your association with the marathon because
Running to who's on first.
Was it-
AKA who fights first.
yeah, who's on booze?
Yeah.
So Marathon Monday was Monday, and I saw an incredible story about a guy who's run it 52 times. David McGilvery. Oh, you're nodding like you saw the story.
Is he a cute old man?
He's he's run the thing 52 years in a row. He's run the marathon. So he tells a story about. So they ask him, okay, what was the first time you ran the marathon? So he's like, well, I was an 18-year-old kid. I was a senior in high school, and I woke up on Patriots Day, Marathon Monday, and I just decided I was going to run the race. I didn't train. I didn't have a bib. I didn't have a bat. I was a what do they call him? Like a interloper. He was just going to jump into the field and run the race.
I don't think that's what they call him.
I don't think so either. But
Bandit.
a bandit. So he's a bandit.
Thank you, Keith.
So
Interloper.
that's a great
Close.
word,
No,
by
it's
the way.
close though.
Interloper is a great word.
I couldn't use it in a sentence.
Yeah, I
No.
just did. So I mean, fair Belmont Hill. I mean, I don't know who's winning this one, but it looks like me.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's his grandfather, who was very supportive of his athletic career up to that point, says, "All right, you know what? I'll meet you. I'll be up by Heartbreak Hill, 21.5 miles. I'll meet you there." So this kid's, he'll be at the finish line. The grandfather will be at the finish line. The kid gets to about the 21st mile, collapses, out, can't finish the race. Hospital, ambulance, hospital, off to the hospital
Not
he
a
goes.
hockey player.
Probably not a hockey player. Probably played football or something. The grandfather stays at the finish line till like 9 o'clock that night,
Waiting for him.
waiting for him. Finally goes home. The kid's calling him. You know, this is 52 years ago, right? So he probably had to call the house phone. And
Switchboard.
Probably.
Yeah.
You think so? 52 years ago? No.
No.
Switchboard?
Sorry, I'm thinking it's like 1985 still.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
We're
I do
50.
that, I do that
Right.
a lot.
Yeah, we're 50.
I think 30 years ago is like the 50s.
Yeah, it's not. It was, 50 years ago was what, 1970?
74, yeah.
So gets in touch with the grandfather. The grandfather says, "Hey, what's going on? I've been waiting for you."
It'd actually be 75 since it's 2025, guys.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, it depends how you look at it.
You're
though.
rounding. It's fine.
yeah. It depends when you ask the question.
Right. Yeah, seriously.
If you had asked that same question a year ago, he would have been right.
Correct.
Don't interrupt me.
That was amazing. You both said it, by the way.
So the grandfather, says, "Look, you can't just wake up in the morning and expect to run the marathon. That's not reasonable. You weren't prepared for the race." So he says, "But listen, if you want to do this, I'll be there to support you, and get ready, and you can run it next year." So 3 months after the Boston Marathon that he failed to finish, the grandfather dies. So the kid trains and trains and trains. He's like, "I'm going to run this marathon for my grandfather." Trains. The day before the marathon, this is now his second attempt, he gets sick. And his parents are like, "You can't run the race. You're too sick." He's like, "I have to run the race. All the papers are saying David McGilvery is running for his, in the honor of his grandfather. I have to run this race." So they let him run the race. He gets to Heartbreak Hill, gets up over Heartbreak Hill, and he's right in front of Boston College, and he collapses again. And he's kicking himself. He's like, "I'm never going to finish this race." Now he's sitting directly in front of the Evergreen Cemetery. He looks over and sees his grandfather's tombstone.
Stop.
This is the story the guy tells. Sees his grandfather's tombstone. It motivates him to finish the race, and he's run it 52 times in a row.
It's an amazing story. I'm calling bullshit.
Really?
Yeah, you don't see the
Root beer's crying a little over there.
Well, so here was...
It's a great story.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
Here was my problem with the story. If you're running, right, you're on the road, chances are, how did that guy get a great... All the gravestones that are close to the road are like 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
And he probably didn't have 20/20 like you.
Right, 2010 actually.
2010.
Yeah.
My dad always said best vision he ever saw.
2010. Should have been a pilot.
It's embellished. I like it though.
Yeah, it's a little
Yeah,
better. But
I think he generally speaking saw the cemetery and knew that this tombstone was in there.
and that
Yeah.
inspired
And that
him,
inspired
and
him.
it gave him so. And he was like, he wasn't there physically, but he was there emotionally, and as a result, I was able to finish the race, and I've run it 52 years in a row.
It's amazing.
It's great. Great story.
Does
Great story
did
about-
his kids or like anyone else in his family like carry on the tradition?
No,
No.
he's still doing it. This guy.
Wow.
So he's 18. He's running 52 years. That's 70 years old. He's still running the marathon.
They should name a drink after him at one of the bars.
The McGilvery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
Alvin, like and all the the runners will go out for one after like
Yeah.
Alvin McGilvery.
Yeah. What would it be? What would that drink be?
Mm.
David McGilvery, the marathoner. What would the drink be?
Some like different version of a car bomb or something maybe.
Yeah.
With the
I was
Irish
thinking
thing in
something with
there.
some Jameson in it.
Yeah.
What's in a
Where-
car bomb?
We could brainstorm that.
Yeah, the car bomb is a
JMO and Guinness.
Guinness.
yeah. You drop the shot in, right?
Yeah.
You got to drink
Maybe
it
it's
down.
Bushmills instead.
Yeah, the
I
McGilvery.
don't know. You'd have to ask him.
I think we'd have to.
We would include him.
Yeah.
in the competition, yeah.
Oh, and the drink being named after him, we
Yeah.
would include
Yeah.
not just two guys that are more Armenian than anything else.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a nice story about David McGilvery. So I want to talk a little bit, and this is important because I want to get into this with you. I saw something, and Michael Burns coaches. How long have you been coaching?
Oh God, 20. Test my math now. Probably 25-ish years.
Okay. So I saw something somewhere on some coach's site or something that I've been watching, that there are 3 types of players. There's the player that has the A-level talent and the A-level mindset.
Saw this.
Oh, you did?
Yep. A-level talent, B-level mindset.
Yep. That's type 2.
B-level talent, A-level mindset. They end up rising, and the third was.
That's the third. You just
This
said
is
the
not
third.
rehearsed. I literally saw this. On
That's
Instagram,
the
too.
third. Type 3 is is third. B talent, A mindset. Type 2 is A talent, B mindset, and type 1 is A talent, A mindset. And they say, you don't get a lot of the A's.
Correct.
You don't get a lot of the ones, right? The one that has the mindset and the talent. Those are the special players. You don't get to coach a lot of those. Then you got the talented kid who doesn't have the good mindset. They look great, but they can't perform in the game, or they don't, they only half-ass, the training, so they don't properly use their talent. And then the type 3 guy or gal is the B talent, A
Nudge
mindset.
pointing to himself.
For the record,
That's the best one.
that's me. I'm a type 3, no talent, good mindset. And they said these become the most successful because Tom Brady.
Yep.
Which is what we talked about last week. We talked a little bit about Tom Brady and how he was always, 6th round draft pick. His story is incredible about, not getting any playing time at Michigan. But I'm curious, as a coach, do you agree with that?
I wholeheartely agree.
Wholeheartedly.
Yep. I think that the mindset, which encompasses a lot of things, but I think that's the most important, given there's some level of talent, obviously.
Right.
At least in hockey. But yeah, when I am putting teams together, the first thing I look for is compete. And I think compete is very closely attached to mindset because it's how you approach things and control the things you can control, which a lot of times are the less talented parts of the game. There's another thing I saw on Instagram that spoke to that said, I think it was Nick Saban maybe, but talked about how if you win in every area of the game that doesn't require talent, all that added up way supersedes
Winning the ones that require talent. Now, just to get into Burnsy's coaching resume, as recently as last month, you won a national championship.
Yes.
Yep.
Unbelievable. I didn't win. Our team.
Well, but you were the coach.
Yes.
The head coach.
Yeah.
So on some level you won too, because you put your heart and soul into
Yes.
that, and you got to assemble the team, and it just doesn't appear out of rise like a what's that bird, like a phoenix. Doesn't just rise like a phoenix, right?
Wow. Yeah.
You got to build
I
the
was gonna
team.
go with a tulip, but
You got to have. That's not a bird. You got to have. You got to have.
got me there.
You got to have people that buy in. Maybe someone not getting as much ice time as the next person is, or playing in different situations that they don't want to be playing in, right? So there's a lot of buy-in. So congratulations, the U14 national championship. It's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So and you're hearing it from a national championship winning coach that it's more important to have a good mindset than it is to have the talent. But you need
You
talent.
need talent.
You need talent.
You've got to have some talent. Now, you said
seven talent, 10 mindset is better than the opposite.
10-7.
Correct.
But you said something, and we try to break things down on this podcast. You said control the things you can control. To me, that is a buzzword, buzz phrase, whatever you want to call it. Give me an example. Give me something. How do you? A player walks in, you say control what you can control, and they go, Coach, I don't know what you're talking about.
I think it could be a lot of things. So effort, right? Number one, when you go into a puck battle, that's completely on you. How hard you go in, technique you use, how hard you're going to back check even when you're dog tired. But also, I think especially for the ages that I coach, it's being aware that teammates make mistakes. So like you don't get the puck on a odd man rush or something like that. That's out of your control in the moment. Like you can certainly talk to your teammate, or the coach will talk to the teammate, but you can't control whether that kid gets you the puck or not.
Right.
And so your job is to make sure you're in the right place the next time that opportunity comes up, because that you can control.
I like that.
You can't be a poor sport and be like, I'm not going to go to the net this time because I didn't get the puck last time. You have to control what you can control and
Go to the net anyway.
make the right play, make the right decision. Eventually, if the coach is and the other kid is coachable and has the right mindset, they'll get there.
Ooh, see what he did there? See how he looped that back? See what he did? That was good.
Great answer.
But I think
I'm
that's important. It's important to go through those buzz phrases and go through. We talked about accountability one week, and like, what does that mean to be accountable? So like, what does it mean to control the things you can control? And a lot of people and a lot of coaches out there just kind of throw those things. They see it on the internet, right? They just kind of throw those phrases out there, and it's like, well, there's nothing behind it. So it's good to put something behind it. The last thing I'll talk about, and this is and then we'll get into some jokes. You got some jokes?
I do.
Are they clean or dirty?
Dirty.
Okay.
Wait, these are pre-written jokes?
Well, let's get to that segment.
Okay.
But so
Totally unprepared.
there's a
I thought the Catholic Church joke was...
that was good. You hit on that one. That Catholic joke somewhat gets abused on this
Right.
this
Yeah, but
podcast.
we're Catholic, so...
Yeah, so it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a former running back by the name of Merrill Hodge. He's on TV now, and he was talking
Number
about
33, Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Remember I have the number thing where I can name anyone's number?
Yeah, I do know that.
Yeah. Okay.
Congratulations, that's quite a
Thank you.
talent.
Thank you.
Um,
You went to Penn State, I believe.
so he was talking
Maybe
about
Iowa.
Walter Payton, and
Number 34.
essentially he was saying what everybody said about Walter Payton was he's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, he's not the fastest, he's just the best. So Merrill Hodge was a running back. His idol was Walter Payton. So finally someone asked the question to Walter Payton, and his answer was essentially, I want it more than the next guy. Whether I'm training in the off season, whether I'm leading up to Sunday, I want it more on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So what you see on Sunday is how I live my life and how I train. I want it more than the next guy. So I thought that kind of dovetails with what we were talking about as far as controlling what you can control, and what does that mean? Effort on a puck battle, or if you're playing football, on the line of scrimmage, or if you're playing, if you're a face-off, get-off guy in lacrosse, or whatever the case may be, you have to want it more than that's what you can control, right? And that's what. So you think about Walter Payton, who arguably is the best running back to ever play in the NFL, right? I mean, he's top 5 anyway. That's what he did. He's like, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the fastest, I'm not the strongest, but I wanted it more than everybody else. So that goes back to the mindset, right? And having that mindset that no one's going to beat me, no one's better than me. No one's, I was sitting in the locker room last night with a guy who's played at a bunch of different levels of hockey. And essentially what he said to me was, I get tired out there. We were talking about sort of how do you power through the fatigue in a hockey game. And it was somewhat in the environment of men's league hockey, right? Like, we're tired. It's 8 o'clock at night, 8:30 at night. You've worked all day and now you're going to go skate, whatever. And he's like, I would just look over at the guy on the other team and say, I'm not as tired as he is. That guy's more tired than me. And I'm going to show him that he's more tired than me. That's how
fights start in men's league.
But this is over 50. There's no fights in this league.
Did you win?
No. Oh my God. Don't even get me going.
Wasn't it the big one?
Oh,
Championship game?
championship game. All right. I'll give you the story real quick.
Don't even get me
Do we
going.
have to?
Get
Listen.
them going.
So,
Do you have like real uniforms and stuff?
championship game. Yeah. Refs, the whole nine. Jake McIntosh was the ref. So anyway.
Wait, the running guy, wasn't he a Mackin?
No, that's a different guy.
McGilvery.
McGilvery, yeah.
Sorry.
So I scored 2 goals.
Of course you did.
One on a 1T.
Zero apples.
OV 1T for my first one.
Okay.
Second one was a turnaround, snipe, 5-hole, whatever. So we're up 3-1. We lose. They tie the game with 1 second left.
Were you on the ice?
I was.
Yes.
Yep. Minus.
That was actually my second minus. So I was even at that point. I lost a face-off that led directly to a goal. Okay.
Had your guy?
I had my guy. And then we go to double overtime, 3-on-3. I have the puck. I turn it over high in the offensive zone. Breakaway the other way. They score. We lose.
Were there fans at this game?
No, there's no fans. But
sometimes there'd be a girlfriend or a wife that would come to a men's
it
league
was
Side piece.
still haunts you.
What?
Yeah.
What happened on the turnover?
So we enter the zone. I got the puck on my stick.
He was turning around
I
talking
see.
shit to whoever was back checking.
No, I see my guy going to the back post. I try to make the cross ice pass to the middle of the zone. Hits the shin pad. Goes the other way. And I had it, whatever. Anyway, that's my men's league story. It was devastating. I was texting Annabelle on my ride home. I'm like, oh my God. Remember when you gave up 6 to Casco Bay? I know how you feel.
You have to pull over.
I texted people. That was bad, dude. I was in a bad way. Anyway, let's tell some jokes. Let's lighten it up. I'll start. You want me to start?
Oh, go ahead, Danny. You
Okay.
start.
I got clean jokes today. How come nobody plays cards in the jungle? How come nobody plays cards in the jungle?
It's more like a riddle.
How come nobody plays cards in the jungle? Anybody?
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Too many cheetahs.
So as a big animal guy, wildlife guy, cheetahs don't live in jungles. They live on the plains.
Don't ruin the jokes, okay? Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Technicality.
Okay. All right. I got another one. You want to tell another one?
Please.
How come
Like that one.
how come the Irish only use 239 beans in their chili? How come the Irish only use 239 beans in their chili?
No, Danny.
Oh.
Cause one more be too farty.
What?
Too farty.
Wait, what?
Too farty. One more bean.
Farty.
Too farty.
Got it.
Oh, too far.
But Irish.
Yeah, too farty.
I like it.
Oh, in an Irish accent.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be an Irish accent.
Yeah.
That part of it didn't land.
Next, you go. You tell. I got a couple more. You tell one.
I don't know if I told this one last week or not.
He has index cards, by the way.
Yeah, preparing. This is what we actually prepare for this part.
This is unbelievable.
What do you?
You carry those around at the bar, too?
Listen, you don't just have a national podcast.
National.
We have listeners in California. You don't just have the national podcast without doing a little bit
It
of prep
looks
work.
like he has like multiplication cards over there.
Those might be his flashcards
So
for spelling.
I
Well,
love. Yes,
he needs
so-
the addition ones because he clearly couldn't do 2025
Well,
minus 50.
As you can see, it's written in cursive. What do you call a lesbian on fire?
Oh man. Keep it clean. As clean as you can. What do you got?
LGBTQ.
I feel like you wrote that one yourself.
That's an amazing joke if you did. You got another one?
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Nudge, you lost.
What's the scariest plant in the forest?
I don't know.
Cheetah.
Bamboo. Oh, I'm so funny.
Oh my God.
I'm using both of those.
Those are incredible.
I don't think you should do it. Like, you walk away on those two.
Yeah.
No, go with one more.
Well, see what you got.
What do you call children who are born in whorehouses?
Oh man. Bastards.
Brothel sprouts.
Killed it. You killed it.
Best part of the show.
I mean, just absolutely destroyed the joke portion of the show.
Killed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I have more. You want me-
No.
Save
That's
stuff, save stuff.
that's the
Sweet
best.
spot.
You might branch off and do your own pod now.
That was the best joke performance you've had in the history of this podcast.
Wow, thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
I'm glad I was here for that.
Yeah, I actually have another joke that
Oh,
my
please.
sister sent me,
No,
but I don't think I'm going to do it. I think I'm
no.
going to save it for next week. I can. I
All
don't
right,
think
just
I'm.
do it. Just
No,
do
I
it.
don't think I can.
Hey,
I don't think I can do it.
Just do it.
Please.
No,
Please.
because
Top the
it's a little.
follow.
All right, I'm going to do it because it's because of.
Doris is going to be pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I can't even. It's not even that good.
The barbecue one.
The-
Fire.
Amazing. I have some Johnny jokes. I got a.
I love little Johnny.
You like Little Johnny?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to do that one though. All right, I'm going to tell another one. So a pregnant woman, a woman who's 3 months pregnant, goes into a coma. 6 months later, she comes out of the coma and she says to the doctor, "How are my babies? Are my babies okay?" And he says, "Yeah, the baby was born. You had twins. Don't worry about it. Your brother came and he named the children." And she said, "Oh God, he's a moron. What did he name these children?" He said, "Well, he named the girl Denise, and he named the boy the nephew." Now, there's a little inside joke there.
Your sister's Denise.
Doris. My
Doris.
sister is Doris. But my brother Robbie also doesn't listen, but my sister Doris listens religiously. Number one fan.
Sorry, Doris.
My brother Robbie used to tell my sister Doris that her name was Reese, but she was so dumb that she told people, Doris?
Oh, nice.
That was a 2-for-1 joke.
Yeah, it was. That
So-
was good.
Thank you for that bonus.
Well, you needed the explanation behind the.
Did we?
I don't know.
I love
I don't know. All right. Well, I'm gonna put this book.
That
down
was
now.
Keith. Awesome.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, Mike Burns.
Mikey Burns.
Mikey Burns.
All right, Burnsy. Where'd you grow up? Where were you born?
Belmont. Oh, actually, I was born in Acton.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Little known fact.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Moved to Belmont when I was super young, like 2 or something.
And so grew up in Belmont.
Yes. Yep.
Same house.
Yes. Still there.
Still there.
Yep.
Right. Very,
Empty.
Very close. Empty.
Yeah.
Well, no
What?
kids there.
No, parents aren't there. They're,
Parents-
yeah, both in homes.
They're both at home. So the house sits empty now.
Yep.
But you were there from 2 until forever.
Forever.
And
Until I became an adult.
who lived in that house with you?
My parents.
Yep.
And my sister Karen and my brother Bobby.
So Karen is older.
Yes.
How much older?
6 years.
Oh, wow.
And Bobby's 8 years. I
Young.
think. 8 or 9. 8.
Years younger than you?
Yeah. No. Yeah. 8.
Wow.
So they like basically didn't live in the same house.
Yeah, they
They're-
barely know each other. They're 15, 16 years
Yeah,
apart.
I think 14, 15 years.
So she was before when Bobby was old enough to even know Karen existed. She was off to college.
Yes.
Effectively.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
he
good
was third
side.
kid, so we like brought him. I remember to her college. He may have had a beer, or may not have.
Yeah.
He was probably like 9 or something.
And he went on to be like a superstar athlete.
Yes. Golden child.
Yeah. Where did he go to college?
Oh, Yale.
Oh, no big deal.
No big deal.
Belmont Hill to Yale.
Yeah.
Wow, pretty good resume.
Any
What's
of
he-
us even apply to an Ivy?
No. Nope. I applied to 3 schools. Anyway, what's he doing now? What's Bobby doing now?
He works at a hedge fund
Oh,
and coaches hockey. He's got 3 kids.
is he around here?
Yeah, he was just here up for Easter. They came up.
But where's come up
Oh,
from where?
sorry. He's down in. He lived in Rowayton, Connecticut, and now he just moved to
Darien.
close.
Stanford.
The next one north of Darien.
Yeah.
I confuse all those towns.
Yeah. Richer than Darien,
Yes.
I think
Right.
is the name
Oh,
of that.
Yeah.
One notch less rich than Darien.
Okay, one step down.
Yeah.
So coming up in Belmont, do you play sports? What do you do for activities?
Yeah, all sports all the time, basically.
Yeah.
So street hockey, wiffle ball were the 2 big ones.
In the backyard.
Nonstop. Basketball, one-on-one. Anything that was super competitive.
Yeah.
And, me against him, despite the age difference, or, friends would come over, would have wars in wiffle ball, basketball. Like, I separated my shoulder playing 2-on-2 basketball in the yard, and then Eddie Gallagher, who, used to purposely, in subsequent games, would go after my shoulder and try to get it to pop out again, which happened a few times. And then wiffle ball, were like same thing. We used to play.
The wiffle ball.
Wars.
So Burnsy's backyard at that Belmont house had it was like built for wiffle
Yes.
ball. It had it was the back. It was shaped. It was very square, right?
Yeah.
But it had like the back corner was where home plate was, and there was the house was the giant green monster.
Gray monster.
Yeah, to hit it over the
Short
corner.
portion right. You used to be able to go for. Yeah.
Because I was a lefty, I had a huge advantage in that.
It was
Used to
like
get
Yankee Stadium.
yeah.
Left field was a bomb.
because you had to get it over the driveway.
and over that big tree in
Yeah,
the driveway.
yeah. So we used to play wiffle ball for hours on end. But where we met was at Oakley Country Club, which that's where we grew up playing golf.
Yep.
So when did you get into golf?
Very young, probably 4 or 5 or something.
That young?
I remember my dad bringing me out there with like a chopped off 9-iron
Yeah,
that I would try to, broom the ball around basically.
yeah.
And then played ever since then. Not as much anymore, but like for a while there, I played a lot.
Did you play baseball at the same time? Were you playing baseball?
I did, yeah. Yep. I played baseball all the way up, and then high school I had to choose. I played golf.
Yeah, to choose in high.
Yeah, I actually liked baseball more probably.
Yeah,
But wasn't as good probably.
yeah. And
I
so
sucked at baseball.
so you come up through Belmont grade school, Belmont public schools
Yep.
for a little while.
Yep.
And you eventually go on to a different high school.
I went to Belmont Hill for high school, yeah. But went to Wellington, famous elementary school in Belmont, and then Chenry Middle School, still there.
And did you play Belmont youth hockey?
Yes.
So did you play for Mr. Kelleher?
Yes.
So we were talking a little bit offline. I just coached an all-star game with Brendan Kelleher, but his father. Tell our listeners about Mr. Kelleher.
Just a legend in hockey, especially, but also baseball guy who probably a big reason why I got into coaching, because when I coached right out of college a little bit back in Belmont.
Hockey.
Yep, no kids, just volunteered. Fun with a couple buddies.
And were you coaching like a bantam? To what age were you coaching?
Squirts.
Squirts.
So Belmont Squirts, we were like living in Brighton and like, here's one thing we can do that's a little bit purposeful.
Right, and not completely degenerative.
Yeah, but then I remember when I moved to Winchester 2010, where I live now, I actually volunteer coached like bantam and midget boys, and I remember thinking like, this is what Mr. Kelleher did. He coached kids who wasn't even his kids all the
Right.
time. And I loved doing it, and that's when I kind of realized I love coaching. But I played for him, but he famously coached the Mite A's for, I think, like 30 or 40.
Something crazy like
crazy.
that. Yeah, 50 years or something.
And
He coached the same Mite A
His first
team.
year of the A's was the year after Chris and I moved up, because we played for another legend, Tommy Courtney. I believe it was his last year. And
Really?
Dan, he took over. But I did play for Dan on the, I think, younger Mite team, like when I very first years playing.
And now they're building a new rink up there, which is it's an amazing.
Should be named after him.
Is it gonna be?
No, they did name the Little League field after him though.
Has he
He's
passed?
Just as much of a
Has
legend.
he passed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
But they were 3 or 4 boys, right?
5 boys.
5 boys.
Yep.
And then one closest to us, age for me anyway, I think was Fubba, right? And that's Ryan.
Ryan he's probably, I'll probably get it wrong. I think he's like a 77.
Okay.
And then Chris was my year, 75.
Got it.
They're all doing awesome. Pat, the oldest, runs USA Hockey. Chris is involved with Billy Guerin, Minnesota Wild. He also was, I believe, the GM of the Four Nations for the U.S. team.
And
so they're all very involved in hockey still.
And what's amazing, this is a tribute to Belmont, but Belmont High, the same class, produced Pat Kelleher, who's the executive director of USA Hockey. So he's the top of the mountain when it comes to USA Hockey. And Jay Monahan,
Correct.
who is the commissioner of the PGA Tour.
Yep.
Came out of the same class at Belmont High School. Belmont High School, not Belmont Hill. Belmont High.
Correct. Hockey teammates.
Hockey teammates. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So why do you...
Jay was number 9 and Pat was number 16, by the way.
So it's great to know. I'll write that down in my book. So begs the question, right? You've got all this tradition in Belmont, unbelievable sports. Clearly, you've got a ton of community involvement and commitment to programs, but you go to Belmont Hill. Why is that?
I think a big part of it was probably hockey and athletics. Even though I wanted to go to the high school. That's where my friends were. I grew up watching all those kids play, especially, hockey and the other sports, and that was kind of every kid's dream because the Middlesex League was incredible back then.
Yep.
You won kids in every team. Teams would be going to the Garden, and that was kind of what I wanted to do, but didn't end up happening. And I don't know if I wanted to go to high school, if I could do it over again, I'd absolutely go there.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's funny because I had a very similar experience in Hanover. I wanted to go to Hanover High desperately for the same exact reasons that you just described. All my buddies were there. They were playing hockey. I had gone to all the hockey games coming up, and ended up going to Thayer. And if I could go back, I don't think I would change because I think going to Thayer changed my trajectory. And why I say that is if I had gone to Hanover, I probably would have played as a freshman. I probably would have had a pretty good career. Maybe I would have got some looks from some of the lower level D3 schools, right? That look at the kids that are coming out of Hanover, the Plymouth States. And I say lower, I'm just saying talent-wise on a hockey level, like the Plymouth States, the Southern New Englands. My trajectory may have been, okay, now I'm going to go play hockey at one of those schools, and it would have completely changed my life.
Yep.
So for me, going to Thayer was a godsend. Do you feel the same way about going to Belmont Hill, that it changed your trajectory and where you ended up?
I don't think so. I think I was a pretty good student, not like the best student, but I think I would have done well academically at either place. I think my parents really emphasized that. So, my dad wasn't an option.
No, you had to get good grades or it was
not
over.
Getting good grades,
Yeah.
So I feel like that part of it, and athletically, I tend to think I went to Trinity. I feel like I'd probably end up in a similar spot. I would say Belmont Hill academically 100% prepared me to do well in college and beyond in terms of like the discipline and the work that you needed to do.
So you were more prepared coming out of Belmont Hill?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And do you still leverage that Belmont Hill network at all?
No, not really. I mean, most of the Belmont Hill guys I talk to are guys who are from my town
from Belmont,
like Eddie Gallagher and people I grew up with anyway.
Because there's a big contingent, and at most of the guys some of the guys that I knew from Belmont, from hanging around with you and hanging around Oakley Country Club, a lot of them ended up at Belmont Hill. Whether it was Pat Murphy. Pat Murphy's a Belmont Hill guy.
Yeah, I do.
Judge.
Again, they're kids who were from Belmont anyway.
Yeah,
so
that's what I mean.
They were already part of my social network, regardless of Belmont Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is and I don't know if you know this, and is Belmont Hill still like that? Are there still a lot of kids from Belmont that go to Belmont Hill?
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are. Probably not as many, I would guess. I feel like geographic diversity and all that stuff is more prevalent.
Yeah.
Is it co-ed?
No, still all dudes.
Still all boys.
Yeah, like Ranieri. There's another one that was a Belmont Hill kid.
Yep.
But I was at Belmont Hill not too long ago. Hank's middle school team was playing Belmont Hill. And what I was struck by at Belmont Hill is I was in the rink, beautiful facility.
Huge sheet.
But all the banners of the coaches, never mind the teams that have won, 7 million championships. They had like 5 or 6 coaching banners with incredible sheer numbers of wins, which speaks to the longevity with which these coaches stay at that school. So to me, that was striking. Like, you go there, you're going to play for the same guy that's been coaching there for 30 years. Like, the hockey coach had like 700 wins.
Ken Martin.
The football coach had like 200 wins. The soccer coach had 300 wins. And they were, all banners on the wall. I'm like, these, you think about how long does it take a football coach to get to 200 wins? He's there 30 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
700 wins in hockey. Ken Martin must have been there 40 years. I was with Mike Flynn last night, who was either a year before you or a year after you.
A couple years ahead, yeah.
And I was telling him the same thing. I'm like, I was just so struck by the longevity of not just the hockey coach, all of their coaches. It just, to me, it spoke volumes of the school itself that people want to stay around that long. So to me, like when I got an eighth grade son, like Belmont Hill would be a place I would want him to go.
Yep. Yeah, I think that goes back like culture and community.
Yeah.
Like, people stay at places where they feel, one, as a coach, there's opportunity for success and good players and good families and all that stuff. So it's probably not as common now as you look around boys and girls, prep schools, or even high schools. Like, it's just a different era.
Just a different era.
Going back to Mr. Keller, coached the Padres in Little League in the Mite A team for, I don't know what it was, 40 years or something.
It's crazy
like that. Right.
So you go to Belmont Hill, you play golf, you play hockey.
Soccer.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Were you any good? I don't remember the soccer
fast.
part.
I got a lot of, I don't even, whether infractions. Or,
I don't know what they're called.
Yeah.
Does anybody even watch soccer around here?
No.
No.
My dad refused to go to the games.
I'm sure he did.
I think he said it was like watching paint dry.
Yeah, grass grow. So coming up, who were the influences? It sounds like your dad was a pretty big influence, as far as academically and keeping you in line. But who else? Any other, and any coaches? Anybody that? Well, Mr. Kelleher was obviously an influence to you now, getting you involved in coaching.
Yeah, I think it was more my peers. Like, we had so many awesome kids and good athletes around you that they kind of, a lot of us organic. Like, we were talking about just playing. I think playing wiffle ball and basketball, like all those things do help you develop athletically.
Yeah.
Like that stuff that I feel like everything's so structured now, but a lot of that stuff we just did.
Yeah.
And same with golf. We wouldn't always go out and play. We'd go in the putting green for like 2 hours.
Right.
Gamble $5 or whatever. But
Right.
like that stuff's all good for your development. So I feel like I was always pushed by my peers and trying to like be great friends with them, but outdo them. Like, I wanted to
beat me in
beat
golf.
you at golf or
Right.
Murph in golf. No, like, we'd be best friends after, but I wanted to kill you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. For
same
the minute.
in wiffle ball.
Yep.
And same, like, held myself to that standard in hockey, like competing with those kids. I don't know. I think that exists still to an extent, but probably not as much as it.
Well,
did.
I don't think like you said, the unstructured play, throwing sticks in the middle, for lack of a better, analogy, like that doesn't exist. Pond hockey doesn't exist anymore, right? Because your kid is so overscheduled to go to this practice, to that practice. Like, I did the backyard rink for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years with Hank. And it got to a point where I was like, well, he's on the ice 6 days a week. I'm expecting him now come home and on his downtime, I want him back on the ice. Like, but had it been us back then, if someone had a backyard rink, we would have been out there all the time.
Yeah.
But we were only skating probably once at night and maybe 2 games on the weekend or something. Now they're on the ice constantly. So,
but that develops like that. I think the competitiveness and going back to mindset, that is developed through some of that stuff.
Through the
like
unstructured play.
Yeah, like my brother was so much younger. I'd play him 1-on-1 in wiffle ball and literally pump him.
Yeah.
Like, I remember scoring 100 runs one. But like, he grew up with that.
Yeah.
And so it, in a way, it's adversity and like having to like not give a shit and keep playing.
Yeah.
Whether you're crying or not.
And
so
I can remember days so this is probably now I'm probably 15. So I used to spend a lot of time
you basically lived there.
Basically lived there in the summer because we would wake up, go play golf, come home, play wiffle ball, whatever, eat popsicles, whatever the hell we were doing.
Yeah.
Very wholesome stuff for the most part till we got a little bit older. But I can remember Bobby being like, I don't know, 8, 9 and playing wiffle ball and just like no mercy. Like, he was just, okay, you want to play? It's 1v1v1. Like, I'm in the field, you're on the mound. Okay, Bobby, good luck hitting this. Good luck, Bobby. You're losing by 700 runs, and Bobby would be crying, but he'd never go inside.
Nope.
That kid never went inside. He just wanted to play and
Same
play and
with
play.
the Kellehers with all those kids, street hockey games, like Faba and Timmy. Like, Timmy became a goalie because like, hey, guess what? You're in net.
Yeah.
People, and there were no helmets or like firing missiles at the poor kid who was probably like 8 or 9 years old. But that does, I think, makes you tough.
Yep.
Both physically and mentally.
So pretty much what it comes down to is I'm the reason why Bobby went to Belmont Hill and then Yale is what it comes down
Yeah.
to. I mean, that's
at least half responsible for that. Yeah.
all right. So now you're going through Belmont Hill. You're having a nice hockey career, nice golf career. We played a ton of golf together, not only just at Oakley, but competed against each other at Thayer. And that was the other great thing about that ISL league. Like, we knew everybody from all the different schools, whether it was Belmont Hill, St. Sebastian's, Rivers, Thayer, whatever. So anyway, so we would compete in the spring, and then would hang out all summer and play golf and do what teenage boys do. But how do you get from Belmont Hill to Trinity?
To be honest, I was looking at like D3 schools, hockey wise. I wanted to play golf as well. And Trinity easily was my top choice, mostly through the Monahan family, because I would go a few times with Judge, who was a year behind me, I believe.
Yeah, he's
visit his older brothers,
Yep.
both Jay and Brendan, who went to Trinity, and both played hockey and golf there. So as a, 17, 18-year-old kid, you go visit a college a few times with people that are going to show you a fun time, and it was like, this is awesome.
This is where I want to be. And I can come here and I can play hockey and I can play golf.
Yep. And knowing a few older guys that would, awesome people that would look out for you.
Yep.
Kind of, I don't know, that just felt very welcoming. I remember going, when I met with the Trinity coach, I met at the Monahan's house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with, a few other coaches, I'd meet with them either after a game or, I'd go visit the school or whatever. But I remember it also felt more like a family,
right?
Like the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that sounds like
that was the connection.
That was the connection.
Monahans, yeah.
Monahan. So now,
100%.
so you just got, you just talk about sort of the influences. Like, you think about how much Belmont really influenced your whole life, right? From
I
Jump
never
Street.
thought of that, but
from Jump Street,
100%.
like your friends, then Belmont Hill, and then the Monahans get you to Trinity, right? And at some point in this experience, you meet your wife, right? Because
she's from Belmont.
She's from Belmont. You started dating when you were like 14, 15 years old, right? Or maybe a little older.
Than that. She was 16.
She was 16. You were
30.
19.
Yeah. Oh, were you? Was it that much?
Barely 19. Just turned.
So were you at?
should admit
Hold on. Stop. It's statute of limitations is over. They got married. Please. It's fine.
She was only 1 year behind me in school because I stayed back when I went to Belmont Hill.
So you reclassed at Belmont Hill.
And she was super November birthday, so she was old for her. The rules were different then.
Yeah.
She was, now if you're November,
Which rules?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
I think those are called laws.
Yeah. But I met her through Belmont people, obviously.
Yeah.
And two of my best friends, Mike Condelli and Joe Henry, were in her math class, which tells you a lot about their academics.
Right.
That she was a year younger and they were in her math class. But I kind of had a crush her. Pratt Murphy had driven us home from like a dance at Belmont Hill, which her and a couple of her townie friends had come to.
Yep.
And then I remember asking Murph, and he's like, "Oh, we'll have people over." So I think Murph had like a few kids over his house, which was like 2 doors down from our house, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. Again, another Belmont nudge.
There it is.
Another Belmont nudge.
There it is.
I mean, it just keeps going. There it is. So now we go to Trinity. 4 years you play
Married
hockey.
my wife because of Pat Murphy, I guess.
Yep. The Pat Murphy. I mean, it's amazing. It really. So you go to Trinity, and what happens? You graduate. Obviously, you play 4 years of hockey, 4 years of golf.
Yep. Yeah. I didn't play the first semester of golf. I kind of want to chill a little bit, but I played. Yeah, I ended up playing that spring, and then the subsequent 3 years.
Got it. And then what happens after Trinity?
I worked in finance for a year. Hated it miserably. I went back to school to UMass to get my master's in sports management, which back in the day was like a thing. I think them and Ohio were the only two programs.
Yeah.
And again, so Jay Monahan, who ended up a little more successful than me,
Just a tad.
went to that program at UMass.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep. And then he went to work for Wolf. Remember the old sports agency? So I kind of, again, I wouldn't say followed his path, but he was helpful and instrumental. I remember I think wrote one of my recommendations even.
So the Belmont connection, Belmont thread continues.
Went there through that program. I got a job at NESN and then the Bruins, where I worked for I think almost 4 years in marketing.
Yeah.
And that that got me into marketing, which then led me ultimately to Hill Holliday, where I've been for almost 18 years and still in marketing and advertising. But it all goes back to, I guess, again, the sports marketing program at UMass and the Bruins and all that, which was through kind of, I wouldn't have even known about it if it wasn't for Jay Monahan.
But the goal when you went to the UMass school wasn't necessarily to get into marketing.
No, work in sports.
Work in sports, but on the management side, like with the ultimate goal of trying to be like a GM, right? Like that's the
I did more like the marketing side of things. Like so when I was in that program, you take marketing, you take law, you take ethics. I can't remember like all different sports versions of those courses.
And what is it? A couple years?
Year plus, and then an internship, which is what I did at NESN.
Okay.
But yeah, I liked the marketing class. I remember this guy, Dr. Sutton, taught it, who is pretty well involved with the NBA, and just I was like, I think this is. I thought going in, I'd want to do more the law side of it, and be an agent, that sort of thing. But I don't know. I was drawn to the marketing side of it. And
now, when you go to Hill Holliday, are you working in sports or just all around marketing at that point?
All around. I ran the Major League Baseball account. Like, sports has always been part of most of the accounts I've worked on. Like, I had John Hancock for many, many years, who obviously has huge affiliation with the Red Sox and the Marathon. So it wasn't really about sports at that point. It was more about I liked marketing and communications, and I found that sports was always a part of those relationships, a corporate sponsorship or some other level like that.
And now you've been there for 18 years.
Yeah,
that's a great run.
Yeah, 18 in June, I think, something like that. Again, we have to do math, but
that's an old school kind of career path, right?
Yeah.
Like, get that job and just sort of work your way up to whatever position you're in now. You know, vice president of everything that's wonderful or whatever it is, right? But like that path is still available to people. And I feel like, and this goes all the way back to like youth sports and jumping club programs or jumping programs, right? And now you now coach at the Brooks School, girls hockey at the Brooks School. We'll get into that a little bit, but like you see it with kids going to a prep school and then leaving a prep school to go to another prep school and then maybe leaving that prep. Then you go to college and you see all these kids in the portal and if they're not happy, or even if they are happy, there's greener pastures. And I feel like that's carried through into a lot of people's careers now. You go on someone's LinkedIn page and they've got, 10 different companies in the last 15 years. And you wonder, it would make me wonder as an employer, is there something wrong? And maybe that's the wrong way to look at it. I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but my initial reaction to, the person's been at 6 jobs in 7 years. Is there something wrong with that person? That's the way society is now, right? So my point is, the opportunity, if you land in the right spot, the opportunity to have a career much like my father's career, which was essentially one company for 30 years, is out there.
Yep.
Is out there.
There's not many. I'm probably a dynasty.
Yeah.
Very few.
But yeah, there's a few people. There's a couple other people that I work with that we're still. There's another guy in creative who's been there even longer. I think 20 years.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare.
So now you've now have what, 3 children of your own?
Yep, 3 girls.
All girls.
Yep.
One's an 09, so that makes her what, a freshman or a sophomore?
She's a freshman. Yep.
Freshman at Rivers.
Yep.
Then you got a 2011 who's in 8th grade.
Joelle's in 8th grade at Rivers. Yep.
So you have a 9, a 10, and a.
And then Cam's 2014. 11 we go birth year right away.
That's the hockey, right?
Cam's in 5th grade.
So you got a 5th grader.
Yep.
A 9th grader and 8th grader?
Correct. Yep.
And the 8th and 9th are at Rivers.
Yes.
Cam is coming up.
She's in 5th now, so yeah, hopefully she's a Brooks kid.
Oh, well, so let's get into that a little bit. So you coached, obviously you've been coaching for a long time, right? And you did a lot of volunteer stuff on the town level with both Belmont and Winchester. Then you start coaching with the Eagles when your daughters start playing?
Yeah, I coached in Winchester. My older 2 girls from the get-go when they were, 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Crazy. Got them in really, really young.
Yeah.
They played boys back then mostly because there weren't a lot of girls teams. I think we maybe had one. It's crazy now. There's now 2 at every age group. But And then Simone, they both went to Eagles a little later than most girls, probably when they were peewees, I want to say.
So that is a little later.
7 or 8 years ago. I
Yeah.
think Simone was like 12 maybe at the time.
Yep.
Or something like that. And then, been there ever since.
And so, well, you're not there anymore, though,
Not
right?
anymore, yeah.
But they're both moving to the new program?
Yes,
Okay.
all three.
So all three are.
Yes.
So walk me through, well, two things. Walk me through, one, how you end up with the Brooks job.
Yep.
Because the girls aren't there, and sort of what the ultimate goal theoretically would be. What's the perfect scenario for Mike Burns up there?
So ended up at Brooks. That was
Yeah.
the first question.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to. I love coaching, and I knew at the older girls' age, I didn't want to coach them anymore. I feel like we talked about this before. They need to hear another voice
Yep.
as they get into high school and everything. But I wanted to do something at the next level, coaching wise. And so I thought like a prep school or a high school would be the perfect scenario. And I was actually almost did the Winchester High boys team maybe like 8 years ago. I was offered the position at the time, couldn't make it work
Yeah.
with work. This is pre-COVID when you have to be in
the office. Yeah.
Like that always stuck with me. Like I knew it was something I really wanted to do.
Yep.
And I felt like now at this point in my career with, where I am in my career and my girls being older now, it was the right timing to kind of look for that. And Brooks was one of the few schools, and part of its geography, right? It's like wanted to be an ISL school, good school within, I couldn't do a Thayer or something like that, which
too far away.
Did open up too far away. And so kind of just, it's been just about a year.
So and how did that process go? Did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them? Like
I reached out to them.
so the job opens up.
You
hear about it.
Yep. So a few people had mentioned it because I think some people I had told this was something I want to do. So I reached out. I had a couple people that supported me a lot. One of them was on the board at Brooks.
Okay.
I coached his son back in the day.
Yeah. In Belmont?
No, Winchester.
Oh, that would have been amazing.
Similar, coached his kid. We won a state championship, or maybe he might have been on two of the teams. So just coach with him. Awesome guy, Craig Ziadi. And I talked about this actually at the last game at Brooks with the girls, saying how for the seniors they'll always have connections and relationships, and that's what it's about, not the wins and losses.
Yeah.
And I gave that example as I literally wouldn't be standing here in this locker room if it wasn't for Craig Ziadi, and I coached his kid 10, 12 years ago. But when I reached out, I knew he was involved at Brooks. He's a super high-end, busy lawyer, got back to me within 5 minutes.
Because of the connection.
Yeah. Absolutely. I know the AD very well. I'll reach out right now.
Yeah.
So that goes back to relationships. I think the greatest sport in the world.
Is hockey.
Hockey.
But I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. But that was such and people who tell that story not surprised. Like,
Right.
that's how, your hockey community.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
my business partner calls it a cult.
yeah, that's fair.
It is fair. He calls me you're a cult leader.
Yeah.
You lead your own little section of the cult.
Yes.
I'm like, well,
Yeah.
it's not too far from the truth. I don't like the connotation of what the word cult brings, but it's a tight knit community that takes care of their own and is very supportive. And
Well, even Keith, I said, I probably met him years ago at Fairfield visiting with Condelli.
Probably.
Who he knew through hockey.
Yep.
And we had some fun times at Fairfield.
Doing what you do at Fairfield.
Studying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going to church on Sundays.
Writing cursive.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I don't know Keith personally, but I'm good friends with his brother, and there's an immediate connection.
Right.
Like
because of hockey.
Yeah, we could go play golf tomorrow. I'm hoping he invites me. I'm sure he belongs somewhere. Yeah.
So what's the ultimate goal at Brooks now? I mean, because Brooks isn't a girls hockey powerhouse.
No.
And
We're getting there.
Soon.
And so is this a ride off into the sunset type spot?
I'd love to do it for as long
as they'll keep you around.
We talked about the people that and there's some coaches there. The AD, Andrea Hines, who's been softball coach for 20-something years.
Yeah.
So I think there's people like that there, which that would be my goal. And I think that's part of what made me a good candidate there has been a lot of turnover in boys and girls prep and high school hockey where people are bouncing around. And I was like, I have no ulterior motos or I just want to find a place where I can build a program, be part of the community and all that stuff.
Oh my goodness, what just happened?
I don't
And
know.
you can coach for
Just boring him to death.
and you can coach there for the next 20 years.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean,
If I'm alive.
yeah. Well, you'll be alive. You live a nice, clean, wholesome life. Well, listen, it was amazing. Again, how do you end up on this podcast from the hockey world? How do we know each other from? I would say I would even attribute that to Belmont because I was up hanging around at Watertown Country Club, Oakley Country Club, which is in Watertown, which is half in Belmont, half in Watertown. Half the members up there are from Belmont.
Yep.
A lot of my good friends, whether it was Jay Murphy or you or Justin Monahan, guys that grew up playing golf, are all Belmont guys.
Yeah.
Pat Murphy.
In that place, we use the words country club pretty loose when we refer to Oakley.
Yeah, but it's to me it was an incredible place to find like-minded kids that helped germinate my love for the game of golf.
Your love of gambling.
And I'm not
fighting.
all of those things, life lessons that you learn when you hang around.
The time that you got in a fight
No, I didn't get. That's never happened.
Which one?
in the garden in front of the clubhouse at Oakley.
No, I haven't heard that.
Oh my God! I saw him the other day. Not the other day, but I saw him over the.
Can I tell it?
Sure, go ahead.
Unbelievable. So not just like me, not the biggest guy, but like tough as they come, wouldn't back down to anyone. So as I talked about, you'd have these competitive rounds of golf. So him, me, Jimmy O'Reilly, I forget who the fourth was.
I think it's
we had
irrelevant.
some match. We're having lunch after. Just kind of friendly banter, talking shit after the round. Something was said that didn't sit well.
He said something about my father, who was the president.
All right, said something about his dad. And it went from like, I'm eating my chowder to like, I'll kill you. This is in the members like lunchroom.
The members grow room, yeah.
So then, and I know Nudge and I know Jim, like, oh, this is going to happen. So like, we'll go outside right now. I don't know, we were like 20, 21, 22.
Yeah.
So me and whoever else, the four, they're like, all right, we're trying to like, guys, no.
It was Mike Ruffo.
Mike Ruffo.
Mike Ruffo was the
Didn't
fourth.
even make it out the door. Punches are flying. They're rolling around and like the Gerber daisies in front of the clubhouse. Old people are coming in for lunch with like their canes and their white hair. People coming in for rounds of golf.
So
And
what?
I'm pretty sure you got suspended, right?
Yeah, but they didn't formally suspend me, but I just went and played somewhere else for a couple weeks.
Great Donnybrook though.
Essentially,
Good fight.
this is. So we were sitting around, and Jimmy O'Reilly, who we've all kissed
You've
and made up.
reconciled?
Yeah, I saw him over the winter at Thayer, the ice hockey rink at Thayer, because they got some basketball. His boy plays basketball. Anyway, I was probably mouthing off, and he made a comment like, "Oh, you think you can get away with anything up here because your father's the president?"
That's right.
And as soon as he said the word father, as soon as the word father came out of his mouth,
Bread.
I was like, "That's it." So
Stood up. Let's go.
we start walking out the front door, and we were going.
You hit him.
We were going off campus. We actually thought it through. We were going to Brigham's.
We're going to Brigham's.
So, but in order to get to Brigham's, you had to
Great
go all
black
the
and
way
white
down the driveway and across the street to Brigham's. And Jimmy was bigger than me.
Probably 200 yards to Brigham's.
Yeah, and he was. Jimmy was I probably weighed 135 pounds soaking wet with quarters in my pockets, and he probably weighed 180.
Let's say 200.
Yeah, he was, and I'm like, I just gotta clock him. And as soon as we got outside, I just drilled him.
And that's why, yes, right. So we were all walking out calmly, like, all right. And I remember thinking, like, all right, I have 200 yards to convince these guys not to do this. So they'll party at that age, like, I want to see this one.
Yeah, and I just hauled off and whacked him.
That's your MO.
Surprise, Keith?
Wasn't there a card game? The same thing happened?
Yeah, that was later on in life. Yeah, someone called me a derogatory term, and I clocked him. But I warned that guy.
You did. Say it again. I'm going to hit you.
So I'm playing. I'll tell one last story. And then
Nudge was a punch first,
Punch
ask questions
first, yeah.
later guy, regardless of his size.
This podcast isn't about me, although my name is on it. So that
He's
story.
just mad that his joke sucked.
That story is I'm dealing cards with playing. There's a bunch of guys. This is later on in life. I'm probably 35 at this time. And
40.
I'm playing cards, and I'm dealing. And there's
Is
a
this like 2 a.m.?
No, it's like 10 o'clock on a member guest night, and there's a guy
again at a country club.
No, this is in someone's basement.
Okay, thank
after the member guest, and a guy
everyone's wearing their like.
kept
Travis
calling me
Matthew
a
jerseys.
very derogatory term, And I said, if you call me that one more time, I'm going to punch you in the face.
What was the term?
I don't want to repeat it.
What did it have? Nationality based?
Yes, but not necessarily. He was comparing me to another nationality, which I was not.
Got it.
And I said to him, if you call me that again, I'm going to punch you in the face. And he called me it again, and I said, I warned you, and I punched him in the face. And the guy sitting next to me, Jack Mitchell, was like, hey, you warned him.
Warned you. Now, was this in the cell phone era with this video?
There was no video of it. It was cell phone era, but there was no video.
It's like that Oakley fight. If there was, people would have had it would have been awesome.
Oh,
It would
yeah.
have been on Barstool.
Look
at these two idiots rolling around in the mulch in front of the clubhouse.
There's one online right now about the up in Canada golfers
Oh, really?
I saw that
on the course. Yeah,
I got hammered.
pounded the guy.
And then came back
He
again.
keeps coming.
8-1 again. Then his buddy came in. 8-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
we did stuff if there were phones that were.
thank God they weren't.
Oh baby.
They
Maybe
just
it
would have
would've
had.
stopped us,
It
though.
just would have been videos of me helping the homeless
Right,
and
yes.
going
Going
to
to
the soup
church.
kitchen and going to church. So it would have been very wholesome material.
Yes.
Anyway, on that note, Bernsey, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
It's great to hear your story. I think it's going to inspire some people. Keithy, as always, incredible job with the jokes.
Thanks, bud.
I mean, A plus. That was like if you were going to rate you as a joke, you were type 1, talent
Double
and
A.
mindset.
Wow.
He might be
Double A.
Batman. You might be Robin.
I mean, today he was Batman. Root Beer, nice to see you, and everybody out
Great
there.
job, Root Beer.
If you need to find me, you know where I'm at because everybody needs a nudge. Thanks, guys. Unbelievable.
Thanks, Danny.